The northeast coast. The northeast coast, as defined in this book and located by the blue rectangle at right, embraces shores and waters stretching from the northern tip of Newfoundland to Massachusetts, and from St. Lawrence River eastward to the Grand Banks. This rock-bound region is detailed in the relief map below, with the areas discussed in the text highlighted in green. The offshore waters are shown in shades of blue. The darker shade, the deeper the water. On land, red outlines and red tape are used to identify the region's 6 national parks. Solid black lines represent roads. Unbroken black lines trace state and national boundaries. Black dots mark towns and cities, while black squares indicate points of special interest discussed in the text. This is the northeast coast. The morning dew sparkles on the web. A spider has spun among the needles of a pine, the most familiar tree along the northeast coast. See? You can eat all the droplets of water. The shore at Mount Desert Island in Maine shows several effects of glaciation. The coastline pushed down some 40,000 years ago by the weight of a glacier is still depressed so that the sea flows into both Frenchman Bay, background, and the cove in the foreground. The steep cliff at top left is the result of plucking the removal of large chunks of rock by the ice sheet as it moved past on its way to the sea. See? Basalt columns left at Digby Neck in the Bay of Fundy resulted from the cooling of lava, part of a huge flow of igneous rock that burst through existing layers of sedimentary rock on the west coast of Nova Scotia and covered them in a thickness of 875 feet. The lava cooled rapidly, hardening into the columnar shapes shown. Subsequently, they were buried under soft sedimentary rock, but now, 175 million years later, the sediment has been eroded away, leaving the columns exposed to frost and sea, as well as to penetration by trees growing in the soil that collects in the rock crevices. The trees slowly widen the cracks, breaking up the columns one by one. Resembling abstract sculpture, Hopewell Rocks in New Brunswick are the opposite side of the Bay of Fundy from the columns at left. They are 100 million years older but much softer, consisting of reddish gravels washed from ancient mountain ranges, buried by later deposits and compacted into rough conglomerate shown here. Now they are exposed to weathering and Fundy's powerful tides, where the rock faces are weakest among fracture lines. The waves carve out caves, then cut arches through them. Eventually the arches fall in, leaving isolated stacks. These too will topple as the waves eat away at their necks. But since the red conglomerate extends for 1,000 feet, new caves, arches, and stacks are continually being formed. See the rocks growing out? And these are caves. Nestling in the Gulf of St. Lawrence, Prince Edward Island, Canada's smallest province, has a very different look from that of the shores of Nova Scotia. New Brunswick and Maine, the older rocks seen in those regions are overlaid by sedimentary deposit formed by sand washed from ancient mountains inland and accumulated as shale and sandstone. This deposit is what makes the surface of Prince Edward today. The red color comes from iron oxide. As in New Brunswick, the waves eat at the soft surface material, but with a different result. There are high tides and swift currents carry away material as fast as it's washed loose, leaving many bizarre forms shown in the previous page. At Prince Edward, however, tides are small and the surrounding waters very shallow. Thus, any material that the waves dislodge by undercutting the cliffs is washed up and down the shore, grinding itself smaller and smaller in the process, producing some of the finest sand beaches in all Canada. See? Persei Rock, noted for its arch and stack formation, looms like an architectural ruin out of the sea off the Gaspé Peninsula. The rock, like those in the foreground splashed with runoff from a small waterfall, is the weathered remnant of an ancient mountain. It consists of limestone laid down thin, horizontal layers on a seabed about 375 million years ago, but lying vertically today as a result of mountain building upheavals in the earth, now starkly exposed to the elements. Persei Rock is disappearing fast. As geological time is reckoned, 300 years ago, sailors counted 4 arches in it. All the traces of 2 of these at the seaward end are gone. The third collapsed in 1845, leaving only a small stack far right. The remaining arch is now being enlarged by wave action. In all, Persei Rock is being eaten away at a rate of 300 tons a year, and will be consumed entirely in another 13,000 years. See? That rock is getting smaller and smaller.